the whole fucking mess, and it's just going to take this planet into a hothouse planet. And I'm very glad to see here on the mainstream media that this story is getting a lot of press. I'm somewhat surprised that it's actually EcoWatch, who I normally have a lot of respect for, covering this story by a climatologist, by several climatologists who I won't go in and naming, doing like an opinion piece. They were not authors of the study, but what they're pointing out here is that the hothouse Earth scenario is just one of many potential scenarios, that nobody knows how this thing is going to play out, and that, according to these apocalyptimists, which I'm going to be talking about more in my second rant, that nobody knows if this planet is going hothouse or not. We're just going to wait and see how it plays out. They're not saying it can't happen, but they're saying that nobody knows if this is a slam dunk or not. And my only point to these people is how many rants have I had about this, that when you go back over the past 20 years and you look at all of these worst case doomsday climate projections looking into the future, now we have the on-the-ground historical data. And when you go back 20 years looking at the most doomsday worst-case scenarios, you find more and more that the great majority of the worst-case scenarios were not the worst-case scenarios, and we are, in fact, a lot closer to a hothouse Earth doomsday scenario than the most pessimistic studies were talking about 20 years ago, and I have no reason to doubt that this new paper on the possibility of this hothouse Earth, unfolding now on the planet, that it could very well be worse than the worst case scenario if it just follows history, but we will just have to wait. But, I do agree with these people to a degree that anybody, with these climatologists, that anybody is talking like they know what the fuck is going to happen with the climate over the next few decades or centuries, that they have no more idea. Some fucking former wildlife biologist, teaching a few classes at some state university 10 years ago knows about as much about what's going to happen with this climate than Sancho Panza knows. The bottom line is we're fucked. We can all agree on that. There is no more question if we're fucked. We're fucked, people. We're fucked. Okay? No shit, Sherlock. We are fucked. The only question remaining is how soon will we be irretrievably fucked? It's not if, it's when and how it's going to play out. And this is what I am dedicating my life to, is chronicling this. But I am not about to ever sit here and walk into this fucking trap about these other clueless fucking morons in the doomosphere making all of these predictions that humans are going to be extinct in the next year. Pull your fucking head out of your ass. Maybe we are going to be extinct. Nobody knows. And anybody believing anyone who acts like humans are going to be extinct, as much as I wish they were, in the next year or 10 years, anyone believing anybody saying that is every bit as much as the clueless fucking moron making the prediction. We're fucked. Okay? Anyway, moving on in my, let's see, what do we got next? So let's get back to California. So what is, I always pick, this is Bloomberg weighing in on the wildfires out there. Wildfires are burning 3 times more of California to date this year than in 2017. There's still people out there acting like the wildfire season this year in California is something normal. Take it away, Bloomberg. Wildfires are now burning through land at a pace more than 3 times faster than last year's blazes. Almost 4,200 fires have charged 726,000 acres, otherwise known as 294,000 hectares, in the state so far this year, according to figures from the California Department of Forestry. That compares to about 226,000 acres at this point last year, and the big caveat here is this figure of 726,000 acres does not include blazes on U.S. Forest Service land, which is, if I was the editor of Bloomberg magazine, and some reporter had put this on my desk, I'd say, dude, get off the fucking phone and add that to get a real. I mean, not even counting on U.S. forest land, 726,000 acres. The fires come as much of the western U.S. has been gripped by hot, dry air. Abnormally arid conditions persist in more than 11 western states today, with more than half the region officially experiencing drought, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. And of course, what in this article, but another article, pointing out that here we're only in the middle of August, and that this time last year, the big major killer fires were still 2 months away than what's going on today. But I'm going to go from the land to the sea. I think it was Permian 250 sending me this story from Mashable. Good guys at Mashable, if you're not familiar with that website. Why the ocean is cooking off the coast of Southern California today. Here is a temperature map of the Pacific Ocean off of the coast of Southern this morning. While I'm sitting here ranting, this is what it looks like off of Southern California this morning. Take it away, Mashable. The waters off the Southern California coast are now approaching tropical temperatures found in parts of the balmy Caribbean Sea. On Wednesday, okay, so now 6 days ago, the Scripps Institution of Oceanography in San Diego recorded its highest ocean temperature ever of 79.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists have taken measurements of the Marine Institute's pier for over a century. This easily broke the previous record of 78.8 degrees Fahrenheit, measured last week. The chilled Pacific Ocean waters do warm up this time of year, but these unusual temperatures are about 7 to 8 degrees. I'm assuming we're still in Fahrenheit above average. This is Clarissa Anderson from the Scripps Institute. Quote, "It's an extreme event." An extreme event.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
Yes. Some ocean temperatures it even breached 80 degrees. The National Weather Service off San Diego, they came in at 81.3 degrees a few days ago, possibly the highest temperature ever recorded in California's waters, according to the Weather Agency. Like extreme heat events on land, these record-breaking temperatures at sea are largely propelled by weather, but given a substantial boost by human-caused global warming. Yep. Some 95% of the accumulated heat that gets trapped by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is absorbed into the oceans. So it's called at 80 degrees. Anyway, we'll see how that plays out. So maybe this has something to do, this story here has something to do with the sounds of silence in the Adirondack Mountains, although this is centering a little bit west of here. How climate change is putting songbirds at risk. Across North America, bird species are expected to undergo a reshuffle due to climate change, with some moving their ranges northward as temperatures and habitats alter, while others are expected to simply lose out. Yes. Now a new study looking, centering on the Acadian flycatcher reveals the impact increasing temperatures will have on songbird populations.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
Anyway, from songbirds getting the losing end to who are some of the winners. We're going to look at a couple of winners from climate change. Let's see. Thank you, CBS News, pointing out the significant rise in mosquito, quote, disease danger days in U.S. new report warns. As global temperatures continue to rise, the number of mosquito disease danger days is increasing across much of the United States, representing a greater risk for transmission of mosquito-borne diseases. Among the many consequences of climate change is a shift in the pattern, incidence, and location of insect-borne diseases, including those spread by the bites of mosquitoes, fleas, and, don't forget, ticks. These diseases pose a significant public health risk